Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to be your guide today as we unlock one of the most fundamental and honestly most fascinating chapters in all of chemistry. We're going to be exploring the dynamic world of acids, bases, and salts. Now, whether you realize it or not, these chemicals are constantly interacting all around you. They're even interacting inside of you, literally every single day. So get ready to put on your lab goggles because we're about to look at the everyday world through the eyes of a chemist. To kick things off, let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why popping a simple, kind of chalky antacid tablet suddenly cures a really painful stomachache? Or how about this? Why does a bee sting hurt so incredibly much, but rubbing a little bit of baking soda on it makes the pain just vanish? Well, I'll tell you a secret. These aren't random acts of magic. They're perfectly predictable chemical reactions. And by the end of our lesson today, we're going to solve this everyday mystery plus a whole lot more. Okay, so here is our game plan for today. We've got 5 main topics to cover. 1, meet acids and bases. 2, how do they react? 3, the power of pH. 4, pH in everyday life. And finally, number 5, the world of salts. All right, let's jump right into part 1, meet acids and bases. You know, the easiest way to think about these chemicals right out of the gate is through their physical traits. So acids are generally sour to the taste. Just think of, say, lemon juice or vinegar. Bases, on the flip side, they tend to feel soapy or slippery to the touch. But since we're scientists here, we obviously can't go around tasting random sour acids or touching soapy bases just to figure out what they are. That is super dangerous. Instead, we use chemical indicators. These are amazing little substances that literally change color depending on whether they're dropped into an acid or a base. Take litmus, for example. It's a natural dye we actually extract from plants. If you put it in an acid, it turns a bright red, but in a base, it turns blue. We also have some really cool synthetic indicators that we use in the lab all the time. Phenolphthalein is completely colorless when it's in an acid, but man, it turns this bright, beautiful pink when it hits a base. Methyl orange, that goes red in acid and yellow in a base. It's honestly like the chemicals are holding up these little colored flags just to tell us exactly what they are. But hey, chemistry isn't just about what you can see. It's a whole sensory experience. Did you know there are indicators that actually change their odor instead of their color? Yeah, these are called olfactory indicators. If you take a strip of cloth that's been treated with chopped onions, vanilla essence, or clove oil, and then you add an acid or a base to it, that classic smell you expect will literally change, or sometimes it just disappears entirely. It's a really fantastic reminder that chemical reactions are actually altering the very physical properties of the stuff we're interacting with. Moving right along, let's dive into section 2. How do they react? So, what actually happens when we take these sour acids and soapy bases and force them to interact with, say, metals? Picture this. We drop some solid zinc granules into a test tube filled with dilute hydrochloric acid. Almost instantly, bubbles start aggressively forming all over the metal. The acid is reacting with the zinc, and it's releasing hydrogen gas. Now, if we take that gas, trap it inside some soap bubbles, and then bring a burning candle nearby, pop. The hydrogen gas burns with a very distinct, super satisfying popping sound. So here's a general rule you definitely want to remember. Whenever an acid reacts with a metal, it produces a salt and hydrogen gas. Every time. Now, acids also absolutely love to react with metal carbonates, like sodium carbonate. When you mix those together, they produce carbon dioxide gas. There's this one classic lab experiment where we take that newly evolved carbon dioxide and pass it through a tube right into a clear solution of calcium hydroxide, which is just commonly known as lime water. The crazy thing is, that invisible carbon dioxide reacts with the totally clear lime water to form a solid white precipitate, and it instantly turns the liquid into this milky, cloudy white color. It is the perfect visual test to prove carbon dioxide is present. Okay, so the absolutely crucial point here is understanding why acids and bases behave this way in the first place, and it all comes down to ions. When you take an acid and dissolve it in water, it breaks apart. It produces these positively charged hydrogen ions, or H+. That little H+ ion, that is the secret ingredient behind literally every acidic property. On the other side, when you dissolve a base in water, it produces negative hydroxide ions, or OH-. And because both of these solutions are just packed full of these free-floating charged ions, both acid and base solutions can actually conduct electricity. Pretty wild, right? So the big question, what happens when the unstoppable force meets the immovable object? What happens when you mix an acid directly into a base? Well, it sets off this massive chemical tug of war called a neutralization reaction. Those positive H plus ions from the acid instantly pair up with the negative OH minus ions from the base, and together they form H2O, just pure neutral water. The leftover parts of those chemicals then bond together to form a salt. They literally completely nullify each other's extreme effects, and it always ends in a peaceful tie of salt and water. All right, pause for a second because I need to put my serious teacher head on. Dissolving strong acids or bases in water is a highly exothermic process. That means it releases a massive, dangerous amount of heat. If you ever have a concentrated acid and you try pouring water directly into it, that sudden flash of heat can cause the acid to literally boil instantly. It will violently splash out, it can cause severe chemical burns, and it can even shatter the glass container you're holding. So here is the golden rule of lab safety. Always add your acid slowly into a large volume of water while stirring it constantly. You never ever do it the other way around. Got it? Okay. With safety out of the way, let's step into section 3, the power of pH. So we know that acids have hydrogen IRs, right? But how do we measure exactly how strong or weak a specific acid is? For that, we use a beautifully simple ruler, the pH scale. It ranges from 0 all the way up to 14. That P actually stands for potens, which is a German word meaning power. So we're literally measuring the power of hydrogen. I want you to think of it kind of like a volume knob on a stereo. Down at 0, the volume of hydrogen ions is cranked to the absolute maximum. That means it's a highly corrosive, incredibly strong acid. But as the numbers go up, the acid gets weaker. Once we cross the middle point, we enter base territory. The higher the number goes, all the way up to 14, the stronger the base becomes, because now those hydroxide ions are taking over the mix. And sitting right there in the exact dead center of this colorful chemical tug of war is the number 7. 7 represents a perfectly neutral solution. At a pH of exactly 7, those acidic hydrogen ions and the basic hydroxide ions are in a perfect equal balance. Pure, freshly distilled water, it sits exactly at a pH of 7. It's not an acid, it's not a base, it is the beautiful, calm center of our entire chemical scale. Okay, let's make this real. Section 4, pH in everyday life. This delicate balance of acids and bases isn't just lab stuff. It dictates the health of our entire planet. Our world is incredibly pH sensitive. For instance, if rainwater drops below a pH of 5.6, it becomes acid rain. That lowers the pH of our rivers and makes it literally impossible for fish and aquatic life to survive. Now think about your own body. Your stomach produces powerful hydrochloric acid to digest your food, but if you produce too much, indigestion. And that finally answers our very first question from today. You take an antacid tablet, which is actually a mild base like magnesium hydroxide, to safely neutralize that excess stomach acid. Even your teeth are vulnerable. If the bacteria in your mouth create a pH below 5.5, your tooth enamel will literally start to dissolve and decay. And out in the fields, farmers have to constantly monitor soil pH because crops will flat out refuse to grow if the dirt is too acidic or too basic. Believe it or not, plants and animals even use pH as a form of chemical warfare for self-defense. When a honeybee stings you, the reason it hurts so much is because it's injecting a painful acid directly under your skin. But because you are now a student of chemistry, you know the cure. By rubbing a mild base, like a simple paste made of baking soda and water, onto the sting, you are triggering a neutralization reaction right there on your skin. It completely cancels out the acid and makes the pain go away. Chemistry to the rescue. All right, final stretch. Let's look at section 5, the world of salts. So we've talked a lot about the water that gets created during neutralization, but what about the salt? Now, when a chemist uses the word salt, they don't just mean those white crystals you sprinkle on your French fries. Not at all. A salt is simply any electrically neutral ionic compound that is born from the neutralization reaction between an acid and a base. It's actually a massive family of different chemicals. And here's a fun fact. Depending on whether the original acid or the original base was stronger to begin with, salts can actually end up being slightly acidic, slightly basic, or just perfectly neutral. But let's talk about that specific salt on your French fries. Common salt, or sodium chloride. That stuff is an absolute superstar. We harvest it from the sea, or we mine it out of ancient rock salt beds, and it serves as the foundational raw material for massive global industries. Through the magic of chemistry, we take simple, everyday sodium chloride and we transform it. We turn it into the baking soda that makes our cakes rise, the washing soda that actually cleans our clothes, and the bleaching powder that purifies our drinking water. It's all connected. And well, that brings our lesson to a close today. We've traced the incredible journey from sour acids and soapy bases, through some pretty explosive reactions and that colorful pH scale, all the way down to the essential salts that literally build our modern world. So I'm going to leave you with a challenge today. I want you to look around your own home. Open up your kitchen cupboards, check out your cleaning supplies under the sink, take a look in your medicine cabinet. Knowing everything you know right now, what kind of incredible chemical reactions are just waiting to happen right in front of you? Stay curious, keep learning, and I will see you in the next explainer.